Tonight, Philadelphia and its largest city workers union are back at the bargaining table. The strike involving thousands of District Council 33 union members has now reached the 8th day.
Meanwhile, a judge approved yet another injunction from the city which orders additional union members to return to work. We have team coverage on the ongoing strike. NBC 10's Neil Fisher will have an update on the impact the strike is having on trash collection around the city. But we want to start with NBC 10 political reporter Lauren Mayk. Lauren, what's the latest on negotiations between DC 33 and the city?
Well, Fred, this negotiating session has now been going on for about 3 hours inside the building here behind me. This is one of the Community College of Philadelphia buildings here in West Philadelphia. And as you mentioned, starting tonight, more workers will be going back on the job after a ruling from a judge. These are airport dispatch workers. There will be 8 of them in total. The first shift starting at midnight tonight. And as for getting a deal to bring all of the striking workers back, that's still in question. Inside City Hall, we saw the legal side of the DC 33 strike playing out. Attorneys in courtroom 675 making their case to a judge over whether certain union workers should have to report to work during the strike. A city attorney asking for 8 airport dispatchers to be ordered back on the job. Not for convenience, he said, but for, quote, health and safety. The judge granted the motion. The workers go back at midnight.
As I've been saying about all the injunctions, they just prove how important and vital our men and women are.
That's DC 33 President Greg Boulware arriving for a negotiating session this afternoon after the judge granted that motion from the city and kept an injunction in place that sent 911 dispatchers back to work.
How common are injunctions like the ones that we have seen that have made certain workers go back to work?
Yeah, it's more common in the public realm, especially when you have such critical services like 911 operators, for example.
Zachary Kimmel is an attorney with Reed Smith in Center City. He specializes in labor matters and says if the strike continues, it's possible the city could ask to bring back workers to deal with the most visible part of the strike, the trash.
You see this trash continue to pile up. The city could potentially go back to the courts and say, hey, look, a week ago when we came here, we were able to man sanitation, but now that the trash is piling up, we have animals coming in, there's the potential for disease or something else. We need at least some of these folks to go back to work because we do have a public health risk.
Kimmel has been involved in negotiations before representing government entities. He says the back and forth coming to a deal can take time.
Wage increases, but wage increases affect things like retirement plans. They affect health and welfare benefits. They affect all these different things. So when the city comes back and does a counter proposal, or the union comes back and does a counter proposal, you got to take all those things into consideration and come up with a package and to know exactly what you're asking for or what you're offering if you're the city. You can't say sure without doing the math.
So as we wait for these negotiations now, again, this session was set to start at 2 o'clock. It's been going on now for 3 hours. Just in the last 10 minutes, we saw somebody from DC 33 come out of the building, but he went right back inside as this continues to